What is going on, everyone? Hello, and welcome back here to another edition of Next Gen Jets, the Next Gen Jets show. Here, brought to you every single week, Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on the NY Flight Jets Talk YouTube channel. We're up to week 2 here, so you know you're doing something right, guys, when we made it to week 2 here of a new show. So I appreciate all your support, guys. We really do. So smash the like, hit subscribe. That's the free way to help support us here on the show as we cover the Jets every single week. I'm here on NY Flight Jets Talk every single day covering the Jets, and then Chris and Jack join me here every single Sunday night at 7 p.m. EST for Next Gen Jets. So like, share, and subscribe. That's the way to help us grow best. The paid way that also helps us grow significantly, you can get into our membership raffle. You have a chance to win some epic prizes, and the way you get a ticket into our raffle is every $2.99 Super Chat will get you a ticket along with every gifted membership. So I can't thank you guys enough for all your support here on the show. If you have any questions for us, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll get to those. Super chats come up immediately. And if you guys want to get on the air with us, voice your opinions, talk all things Jets football, you could do so by using the pinned comment at the top of the chat. Chris, how you doing tonight, my man? Oh, you're muted, Chris. You're muted, Chris. We got you now?
I'm doing well, man. I'm feeling good about the moves we're making. I'm ready to get into it.
Jack, what's popping, my guy?
What's up, Connor? I'm excited to be here. You know, we're the future of Jets content creators, so we gotta endorse every single second of this show.
1,000%. We already got Mother effing Chew in the building, who comes in with a gifted membership. That's a raffle ticket for you, Chew. Appreciate all your support here on the show. Way to get into our raffle. Every $2.99 Super Chat will get you a ticket along with every single gifted membership. We can't thank you guys enough for all your support here on the program. Guys, a really, really busy week for our New York Jets. There's a lot of talk right now. You know, the way Darren Muji had approached free agency, the signings he made. They're more so depth signings. There hasn't been any huge names that the Jets have brought in the building throughout free agency. Personally, I'm a fan of that. I think Darren Muji has done a great job of not particularly overpaying for anyone, paying everyone a reasonable rate, and he's trying to take flyers on younger guys, something I really like. Talk about taking a flyer on a younger guy, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Fields, the new New York Jets quarterback.
Let's go.
To a 2-year deal, $30 million guaranteed. The contract's worth up to $40 million. Guys, I know we were on here talking about Fields last week, but now that it's official, how do you guys feel? I'm going to throw it over to Jack first here on this topic.
I like it. You know, although I see him as of right now as a bridge, that could change within the first couple of weeks of the season, right? If he does good, I feel like he did good with Pittsburgh last season. He definitely led them to a 4-2 record, which I feel like can be a good stable. Proves that he's a good stable quarterback. Although he didn't really fit their offense that well, still going 4-2 in 6 games with them, I still feel like was a good record for him. And he has upside. I really like the signing. If Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji and Tanner Engstrand can get him to his potential, I think it's a great signing. And I think it's going to be worth it. I really do.
Chris, I know you were big on trying to bring Justin Fields here for a long time. Now that's official, how do you feel? Do you have any concerns regarding the contract? Are you pretty cool with the way the Jets handled this?
No, I'm feeling great about it. There's so many reasons for me to be optimistic and for all of us to be optimistic. I think, he's going to fit well into our offense. As soon as we got rid of Rodgers, Fields was the guy. He's the only guy that, the name that, strikes interest for us fans after getting rid of Rodgers, but he's very mobile. He has tons of upside, and the one thing that does concern me is his ability to get through progressions and his ability to, not throw into open receivers. But I feel like, Pittsburgh told him to be conservative. So now that, the Jets can just tell him to loosen up, be comfortable, just let it rip. And, he has chemistry with Garrett. Like I said, the option with Brees is going to be deadly. So there's so many things to be excited for. I think it's a good contract. They can opt out after 1 year if he's not good. And if he's not good, they have a top 5 pick in next year's draft. So, we have our franchise quarterback either way. So I'm excited for what's to come.
1,000%. For those who've been watching the show, you guys know that Fields has been my number one option. I was personally in the boat of moving on from Aaron Rodgers, and after they moved on from Aaron Rodgers, without a doubt, Justin Fields was my number one option. The fact that he is going to be 26 years old right before the season starts, someone who has a ton of upside, someone who has improved every single year, although he hasn't had the best weapons in the world, hasn't had the best coaching. I would much rather, guys, pay Justin Fields this amount of money to come in and see what he has than, for example, you pay someone cheap who's that just pure bridge option for 1 year, like a Jameis Winston, like a Kirk Cousins. Those were 2 names that were floated around that I dismissed right away because those guys those are guys well into their 30s, and we know where their ceiling is. There's still that glimmer of unknown that we have with Justin Fields here, and that's what I like. It's a low risk, high reward type move. Well, the worst thing that happens, you needed a bridge option either way. Justin Fields gets you to next season, where then you draft a quarterback. The best thing that happens, though, is he's your guy long term. So it's a low risk, high reward type move for this Jets team. Jets also the two of the biggest signings, I would say, throughout the first week or so of free agency. The Jets beef up their secondary. Andre Cisco, the Jets signed alongside Brandon Stevens. I'm going to start with Andre Cisco, excuse me, guys. Someone the Jets signed who's a Long Island native, grew up a Jet fan. 1 year, $10 million deal. He's going to be 25 years old. Coming off somewhat of a down season, but still a ball hawking type safety. You can get you 3 to 4 picks a year. Seems like the Jets are trying to gamble on the 25-year-old's upside here and see what he could do in 2023, or even better with an elite defensive coaching staff. Jack, how do you feel about this move for the Jets?
I like this guy. 6 foot, 210 pounds. I feel like it's a pretty good size for a safety, especially like Andre Cisco, well-known name around the league. And I feel like if we develop him correctly with Aaron Glenn, who is a former defensive back himself, so I have faith in Glenn and Steve Wilkes to fit him well into the defense. If he fits well, I think since he was a cheap option, if he does well, I think we can pay him even more, and maybe he can be our safety for the future, for the near future at least.
Chris, I want to gauge your thoughts here on Brandon Stevens, because he was kind of a polarizing name when the Jets first signed him. Someone who hasn't really gotten to a groove throughout his NFL career, third-round pick in 2021. They tried him as a safety his first year in the league. That didn't work. Now he's been a quarterback for the Ravens the past few seasons, still coming off somewhat of a down year. He's glued to his guy. That's what we noticed, but he just has poor ball skills. He's not able to disrupt the pass. Thoughts on the Jets signing Brandon Stevens to a 3-year, $36 million pretty lucrative contract?
I know some people are mad at, Muji for not going out and splashing on big names, but I'm truly confident that Glenn and Muji have a vision of what they want this team to be, and they're signing players that fit that vision. So, a guy like Steve giving Stevens that money, they must be confident in him. Glenn sees the talent. He was a former cornerback, so when he makes a signing like this, we got to trust it. And I'm confident in their ability to develop him. We needed to add bodies to this room after losing DJ Reed in free agency. So yeah, this guy can definitely develop and be a good CB2 or CB3 for us if they want to move up Eccles instead of him for the first year.
Well, Eccles is no longer on the team, Chris. He signed with the Steelers, so he's officially off the table among the names the Jets could potentially try to bring back. He signed with the Steelers last week, so a tough loss for the Jets. And I agree with everything you said there regarding Brandon Stevens, just because, this isn't a signing I would have made if I was Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn. Looking what he's done over the past few years in the league, I would have been open to it. Just I don't like the contract, the fact that it's a 3-year deal worth up to $36 million. That's my one concern here. However, like you said, this is a super, super strong defensive coaching staff with Steve Wilkes, with Aaron Glenn, with Chris Harris, with Dre Bly. I trust the signings they're going to make. So while Brandon Stevens is yet to show that he's a top corner in this league, if Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji, Steve Wilkes, Dre Bly, and Chris Harris, a very, very strong defensive coaching staff, if they feel confident making this move, we're going to have to instill trust in those guys and see how it pans out. That's where that's where we are overall on the two main signings the Jets made in their secondary, Andre Cisco and Brandon Stevens. Cisco signed to a 1-year, $10 million contract. Stevens agreed to a 3-year, $36 million deal. Well, guys, we're talking about all the exterior names. The Jets still did bring back some guys. They made a couple extensions. Safety Tony Adams, who's $3 million. It's going to be a fully guaranteed contract this coming season. They also brought back Isaiah Oliver, Jamin Davis, and Kene Nwangwu. I had to wear a Tony Adams jersey today because I know we're going to talk about him. Tony Adams, someone who's an undrafted free agent for this team just a few years ago, has been a serviceable cornerback. Look, I don't particularly feel comfortable with the Jets safety room looking like Isaiah Oliver, Tony Adams, and Andre Cisco entering the season. I want to try to build through the draft at the safety position still. But, Jack, what are your thoughts on the Jets bringing back Tony Adams here for a relatively cheap deal and they tender him?
I really like Tony Adams because although he may not be a big name in the entire NFL, of course he's a big name for Jet fans, but maybe not the entire NFL, and I'm totally fine with that. You don't have to have a big name to make an impact on a team, and I feel like Tony Adams can make a big impact on this team. He already proved to us fans and to his own coaching staff that he can be the guy in that safety room. So I really like the idea, not even an idea anymore. I really like how the Jets brought him back.
Chris, what are your thoughts here on the Jets bringing back Isaiah Oliver, someone who, Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh constantly described him as a Swiss Army knife for this team, and he was really that. He provided depth as a safety, depth as a nickel corner, even got his hands dirty, got a couple interceptions, a couple pass breakups. I mean, we still haven't seen the official details of this contract, but it could be nothing more than a cheaper one-year deal. I like the fact that the Jets are really honing in on depth in their defensive back room.
Yeah, I like the signing. I do like how our safety room looks like right now with Cisco, Oliver, and Adams. Adams, didn't he have like 3 picks in 2023?
Yeah, 3 picks in 2023. Last year, Tony Adams had a solid season last year, 84 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and an interception in 15 games. But yeah, he had, I think, 3 interceptions a few years ago. So he might not be your true ball hawking type guy like an Andre Cisco, but he could certainly, get a couple interceptions for you a season.
Yeah, no, he had 3 picks off Josh, or that was 2 of his picks came off Josh Allen in the home opener. But I really like Cisco as well. I think, he's young, has a ton of upside. And again, I'm putting faith in the way Glenn and Muji are looking at players and if they're determining if they're good or not. And I like how they're signing, positions of need like safety and O-line and D-line depth.
For sure. I don't think Adams and Oliver are nothing more than depth pieces, but however, I think it's great to try to retain your own talent. Let's keep in mind something here, guys, with Isaiah Oliver. He did play under Steve Wilkes in 2023 with the 49ers, so there's that kind of connection, which I'm sure kind of helped get it done. Tony Adams, though, I really like it. I think it's $3 million, a fully guaranteed deal, could provide some great safety depth. Next guy I want to get into here, Jack, Jamin Davis, someone who we really didn't see much of with this Jets team. Last year, they signed him in December off waivers, didn't appear in the game. He's bounced around the league, joined the Vikings after he was released by the Commanders earlier in the season. He was a 2021 first-round pick. So, as we see, first-round picks, no matter how their NFL career is played out, they maybe can show you some glimmer of hope. I mean, just look at what Takk McKinley did for this Jets team during training camp in the preseason. It looks like a team-friendly deal for Jamin Davis, and he is back on this team, Jack.
I like it, especially with the loss of CJ Mosley. I feel like we can add some depth to this linebacker position, and I feel like Davis can really be a really good linebacker for us because, like you said, we have to just take a chance on him. He signed with the team last year in December, so we didn't really get much glimpses of him. Former Washington linebacker, I feel like he did okay there, but I feel like, I would like to see what he does as a backup for either Jamin Sherwood or Quincy Williams for sure.
For sure. The next move the Jets made, re-signing special teamer, well, technically running back, but really special teamer, kick returner, punt returner, everything, Kene Nwangwu. This is a signing I really, really like, a signing that I think has flown under the radar, a 1-year, $2.5 million deal for someone who's been an all-pro returner in his career with the Vikings, someone who, if you guys remember the Seahawks game, he was the AFC special teamer of the week.
Yep.
Forced the fumble that the Jets scored a touchdown on. And then he also housed a kickoff return. Fortunately, only played one more game, the Dolphins game next week, before he was sidelined with an injury, forcing him to miss the rest of the season. Chris, I'm hoping this move could maybe give him the kick returning job, and punt returning job, for that matter, over Xavier Gipson. Because I don't want Xavier Gipson on this team next year, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, since Barrios, we haven't had anyone who can really, make some noise returning kicks and, on special teams. As we saw in the Seahawks game, this guy obviously has the potential to be a dog. And, with better coaching and overall just a fresh start in 2024, I think, recovering from the injury, he's going to, be able to do some good things for us.
For sure. So those are the moves the Jets made in-house, re-signing safety Tony Adams, defensive back Isaiah, Oliver, Jamin Davis, along with Kene Nwangwu. I really like the way this free agency class is shaped out. I know I said it earlier, but you're taking flyers on guys who are still in their 20s and you're gambling on upside. Yeah, they haven't overpaid for anyone, arguably, except Steven. So really, really like the way Darren Muji has taken his approach to free agency. So applaud to Darren Muji there. Let's see. We'll get into some of the players the Jets released. Aaron Rodgers, we knew it was just a formality because that came out before free agency. He's gone. Devontae Adams, that seemed like a formality after it was announced that Aaron Rodgers will no longer be with this team. But I want to get your guys' thoughts here on CJ Mosley because he's someone 32 years old. His season last year was riddled in injuries, only played 4 games. And a couple of the 4 games he played in, he was kind of playing injured on the older side. Still not a guarantee that he's going to play football next season. The Jets do lose money by the Jets would have been better off keeping him from a financial standpoint. They have to pay him more now that they release him. Jack, what does this move mean for the team and the rest of the linebacker core?
I feel like it just pays. I think it just creates a little divot in the linebacker core, just because, really, mainly because of his leadership, right? And letting him go, and especially financially, will create $16.5 million in cap space. And I feel like you said, he was ridiculed with injuries last year, like that neck injury he had. I believe he had, was it a toe injury in the first
Hmm. Yep.
for part of the season. So yeah, he was ridiculed with injuries though. However, a great guy, great leader. I feel like it'll definitely create a divot in the room, but I feel like guys like Quincy Williams and Jamin Sherwood learn so much from him, and that they can carry that on. So yes, it would be a great loss. Great meaning heavy, right? It would be a heavy loss. However, it would, it wouldn't impact us that bad, really. Mosley's best seasons came in 2021 and 2022. 23, he had a good year, but I feel like he just went down, he, slid down a little bit. However, his leadership was still through the roof. Really, his leadership is really the main factor in this for me.
Since the Jets really released Devontae Adams, as we see there, it's still uncertain if Alan Lazard will be a part of this wide receiver room. They have Garrett Wilson under contract right now. Alan Lazard still on the roster. Malachi Corley, Xavier Gibson. I mean, Chris and Jack. This wide receiver room is an absolute mess right now. And the Jets have only added one wide receiver in free agency, and that's receiver Tyler Johnson, a name I want to get your thoughts on. For me, this is nothing more than a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. He was technically the Rams wide receiver 5 last season, a 5th-round pick in 2020. He's bounced around the league. Hey, he's maybe a guy who could get you some contested catches throughout his career. He's made 13 of his 19 contested catch opportunities. Last year, though, opposite of Alan Lazard, he didn't drop a single pass on his 39 targets, had 63% of his 291 yards come after the catch. So he's a yak guy who holds on to the ball, bounced around in the league, a day 3 type talent. Chris, how do you view this move for the Jets? Are you viewing him as a camp body, or do you think there's a little more than just a wide receiver 4, wide receiver role in Tyler Johnson?
Well, you obviously had to add bodies to this receiver room. It was obviously looking very barren from the start. And, while he doesn't look like, a top talent in the league, I feel like he can develop into either the wide receiver 3 role if necessary, because we know that, so we know that we're going to have to draft receiver, because we can't go into the new season like this. It's just, we need enough targets for Justin Fields. But Garrett Wilson is our 1. Obviously, we our 2 is still open. I hope we're going to draft our 2. But Tyler Johnson might have to be our 3, or plug-in guy. But as of now, he's just a body. But I feel like he maybe Glenn might like what they see, and Engstrom might like what they see in him.
Look, I think, Chris, if you go into the season with Tyler Johnson as your wide receiver 3, I think that's just an absolute disaster in my eyes. I see what you're saying. I don't think you particularly want him to be the wide receiver 3, like you said, but when push comes to shove, I mean, let's be real. That's an absolute mess if you're trotting someone onto the field who has less than 1,000 yards throughout his entire career, who was drafted in 2019. I think that's a mess. And that kind of leads me to my next point. Wide receiver room seems barren right now. Not too many names left on the free agent market. So it seems like if the Jets want to go ahead and they want to make any moves at the wide receiver room, it's going to have to come through the draft. Are you guys on board? I'll go to you, Jack, first, on potentially keeping Alan Lazard around if he tries to restructure his deal, something like that, because this wide receiver room is piss poor right now.
I don't know. I don't know. I have really mixed feelings about this. One, no, because of his really, really horrendous play last season and the season before. 2023 was absolutely awful. He started out good in 2024. It's just once Devontae came in, it all really went downhill for him, really, because he didn't get that much play time. However, I just feel like, he's not really a necessity for this team right now. Even if we restructure his contract, our wide receiver room is not really in the best shape. But I feel like, maybe Ted McMillan at 7. I know Keenan Allen's expensive, so we're probably not going to get him. But let's just say hypothetically the Jets do get him, although I don't see it. I feel like we wouldn't have room for Lazard at all, especially since we've gotten Tyler Johnson. I feel like they're going to utilize him more than Lazard, even if they keep Lazard. I just don't see the need.
Question, why is he not a necessity in a wide receiver room where you only have one legit potential rosterable receiver in Garrett Wilson? Why isn't that a need for you?
Because I feel like, just based off what he's done the last couple of years, he's not going to be any different than Tyler Johnson, in my opinion. Of course, maybe he can be some I just don't think he's got it anymore. I really don't. 2023, he only finished the season with 1 touchdown. Again, he had horrible quarterback play.
He had
but,
6
I just
last season, though.
I get it. I'm just saying, for me, you asked me this question. I don't see the necessity in it.
Chris, let's get you in here. Are you on board with trying to keep Lazard around?
The short answer to that question is no. I think the only reason Lazard played well is because he had the chemistry with Rodgers from Green Bay. But I don't think Lazard is, worth bringing back unless he takes an extremely significant pay cut. I don't want Lazard in here. If we're that desperate, we need to be making better moves at receiver. But so Lazard is a no.
Look, I wouldn't hate it. Ideally, you don't want Allen Lazard to be a top receiver on your depth chart, but you look at what this team has right now. If he's able to really restructure his deal and he wants to stick around here, because first off, you don't save that much money by cutting him. You're not getting anything in a trade for him. You need wide receiver depth, and Allen Lazard, at points in his career, 29 years old, 6'5", 227 pounds, he's proved he's somewhat of a serviceable guy. I mean, 60 targets last year, 37 receptions, 530 yards, and 6 touchdowns. You look at the wide receiver room right now, he would be the Jets wide receiver too. So I don't get the fact why people don't want him to stick around, especially if he could restructure his deal. So I would potentially be on board with bringing Allen Lazard back on this team, especially if he's willing to take a significant pay cut here. So I understand your short answer no, but at the same time you have to look at the rest of the roster, see the depth they have, and I think he could be a really, really, really solid depth piece for this team. We'll go into one more topic here before we take your questions, answer your calls, questions, comments, throw them in there. Smash the like, hit subscribe, super chats. Every $2.99 super chat, every gifted membership will get you a ticket into our membership raffle. Guys, please super chat and gift memberships if you can. It's a great way to help Jack, Chris, and I grow this show. I can't thank you guys enough for all your support, though. Like, share, and subscribe is the free way to contribute. Keep the questions coming. We'll get to those. Call into the show. Pin comment at the top of the chat. Chris, when you look at the rest of the free agent market, there aren't that many big names left out on the market, but you still have a Stephon Diggs type guy, a Keenan Allen. A lower level name I like is Kendall Lamb, the left tackle, played for the right tackle, played for the Miami Dolphins this past season. Is there anyone you see on that open market you'd be eyeing for this Jets team?
Well, I don't think. First off, I don't think Aaron Glenn would be interested in Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is a diva, and he is not a good personality at all. You want in your receiver room, especially if he's going to be, like begging for targets when Garrett is getting majority of them. So I don't want him. Von Miller, you see with his horrible haircut on the bottom right. Von Miller. I don't even think we should add him. He's so old, and we already have. I'm happy with our D-line as of now. I like the signing we made today in that D tackle. So, there's not really many more free agents that we can go after. Again, wide receiver is a necessity, but, I don't think adding Diggs is the answer to that. But any wide receivers I'd be happy with.
So no to Stephon Diggs. I mean, the wide receivers, when you look at them overall, Chris, there's not much there. That's the issue. So I think the Jets are really, really going to have to build through the draft when it comes to the wide receiver position. Literally, barely any names still on the wide receiver market, except a guy like a Stephon Diggs, a guy like a Keenan Allen. There are literally not many names left on the free agent market. Jack, who are you eyeing?
I'm not eyeing really anybody specific right now. Like you said, I don't think we're in the best situation right now, especially for free agent signings for wide receiver. If I did have to pick one, however, I like Keenan Allen. Yes, he's getting older. Yes, he's expensive. I just feel like he's the best out of the bunch.
Appreciate you all tuning in. Like I said, smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It's a free way. Helps us grow significantly. 72 of you guys here in the building on YouTube. 53 likes. So please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Questions, comments, super chats, get them in. Call them with the pinned comment at the top of the chat. Gifted memberships. Every $2.99 super chat will get you a ticket into our membership raffle. T. Rivera wants in on our membership raffle. He gets a raffle ticket.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas.
Damn straight, BG. Appreciate your support here on the show. T. Rivera, that is a gifted, that's a raffle ticket for you. It appears we're maxed out on membership, so if you guys want to support the show and still get into our membership raffle, Super Chats is probably the best way to do so. So if you want to get into our membership raffle still and make it easier for us to get for YouTube to get money, Super Chats would probably be the best way to do so. Appreciate all you guys as always. Travis Preheim comes in with 5 gifted memberships.
Here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Tell him, BG. Travis, that is 5 tickets for you. Appreciate all your support here on the show. You guys are the best. Keep the super chats. Keep the questions coming. Can't thank you enough for all your support here on the show. Meadowland Swamp Thing comes in, says, does that mean every subscriber has a membership now? No, YouTube actually doesn't allow that. So what YouTube does is every time you get a subscriber, the ceiling ups. We have 1,748 subscribers. We don't have that many channel members. Only a select portion amount of your subscribers could be channel members. So if you haven't already hit subscribe, that raises the ceiling of the amount of channel members we could have at the same time. So that's what it is, I think, with YouTube, Meadowland Swamp Thing. But it is super, super annoying.
Road to 2K for you, Connor.
What'd you say?
Road to 2K for you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, what are we at? 1,748. So hit subscribe. It helps Chris, Jack, and I grow. It helps NY Flight Jetstar grow as well. So can't thank you enough. Sharon comes in, our 5-month member. Super Chat says Warren's Warriors unite. Sharon, I know you tune into all the shows, so I appreciate it as always. I know you're a big Tyler Warren fan. Chris, how do you feel about giving Justin Fields a weapon like Tyler Warren, even if it means you have to spend the 7th overall pick on him?
I love Tyler Warren. I think he's like a football guy. I think he can be our George Kittle, a reliable target, a locker room guy, fan favorite. However, receiver is way too big to be, taking him at 7 if we don't have another plan. So I love Warren as a player, but if we're going to take him at 7, we have to be trading back into the first round for a receiver like Egbuka, the Ohio State receiver, which I think that's a great plan because Egbuka played at Ohio State. I think he's boys with Garrett. So listen, Warren and trading back into the first round for another receiver is a good plan, but I think receiver has to be at the top, even though Warren is such an incredible player.
Look, both classes, Chris, are so deep at wide receiver and tight end. I'd be open to the fact if you could get you a guy like Tyler Warren, who's 6'6", 261 pounds, can get you yards after catch, could be an inline blocker for you, could do pretty much everything. Jack, how do you feel about the possibility? Maybe you go Warren in round 1, but then you address wide receiver. Maybe a guy like Jaden Higgins in the 3rd round, a guy like Jack Besh in the 2nd round, and then even a Nick Nash from San Jose State you could probably get on day 3. How do you feel about potentially trying to go Tyler Warren in the 1st round here?
I love it, and we've been talking about him as a pass catcher, right? But if Tanner Angstrand decides to go the run and gun route, he's a damn good blocker too. I've noticed that in Penn State. I really think he's a good blocker. Really is good. His hips stay squares up with the guy he's against. I really like his form when he goes up to block someone. Not just a pass catcher. I think he could do it all, right? He could throw, as we've seen in college too. Maybe there's a package or something on 4th and 1 that we can do with him, or something like that. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that play with against the Chiefs that Derrick Henry did, where he faked the run and tossed it up to someone for the end zone? I think maybe we can do something like that. I'd be interested to see. And like you said, maybe get a receiver in the 2nd or 3rd. I like Isaiah Bond in the 3rd. I really think from Texas. I really think he'd be a key aspect to this offense, especially with the gap of wide receiver. Maybe not a wide receiver 2 per se, but definitely to help condense the gap.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get any further with your questions, our guy David D wants a few more raffle entries. He comes in with a $10 super chat. Appreciate your support as always, David. You're the best. Support goes a long way here on the show. Super chat's a great way to help us grow. So appreciate that as always. Says Connor, Jack, and Chris, I would be interested in your input in why the Jets and cornerback DJ Reed went in separate directions. It didn't seem like either party made a serious attempt for Reed to resign. Chris, sum it up here for our Lions fan, David D.
Well, I don't think Reed was interested in coming back at all. I think Reed is tired of the losing, and while he has developed relationships with obviously Sauce, we saw, and all the other players in this team, I think it was best for both parties that they just split up. And Reed wants to win. He went to a immediate contender, and he's tired of losing with the Jets. And honestly, I don't blame him.
For sure. DJ Reed is someone who was I think, the best free agent signing that Joe Douglas made during his tenure. Truly, he's been an unsung hero for this team for the past few seasons. So, the fact they're moving on from DJ Reed, I think Chris pretty much summed it up there. He's making in-season comments. I just think both sides. I think DJ Reed, like you said, Chris, wanted to go to a contender at this stage of his career, and the Jets weren't open to paying DJ Reed the premium amount of money that he was going to command. But hey, you guys, David, you got a great replacement for Carlton Davis and DJ Reed. So happy for you that you guys landed DJ Reed. T. Rivera comes in, says, Connor, how do you think Muji is going to build the roster? Jack, I think they're going to try to find starters in the first few rounds of this year's draft. And with a roster that isn't as robust as they were last year entering the draft, I think you really need to find starters during the first few rounds of the draft. So I think Muji is going to look for starters early in this draft, and he's clearly shown that he's not going to overpay for anyone. He doesn't really want to roster anyone over 30 years old. Jack, go ahead.
I agree. I agree. You know, if this is what you're saying, right? I'd be interested if excuse me, if the Jets do not trade down in the draft. If they did, I would see them picking up maybe a Emeka Egbuka or a Luther Burden. However, I do think Luther Burden is a little bit overrated. I wouldn't mind to see if they traded down to get him. In this case, however, if you said Muji really wants to build this roster good, I would like to see maybe they just stick at 7. I don't see them trading up anymore. However, I think 7's perfect for them.
Oscar the Grouch comes in, 3-month member super chat, says, like the video, let's show these guys our support. Yes, guys, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Free way to help us grow significantly. You want to explore the paid way? Hey, get into our membership raffle. Every super chat or gifted membership gets you a ticket into our raffle. So I appreciate all your support. Here on the show, Gary King the third, GK3 comes in the chat and says, this team at best right now can win 6 to 7 games. Chris, debunk this narrative here from Gary.
Yeah, as soon as I saw this comment, I was immediately ready to push back on it. I think that logic stems from the fact that we're not signing any big free agents, which I think is a misconception.
Or they didn't bring back Rodgers, too. Note that, too.
Yeah, or they didn't bring back Rodgers. I think that people aren't really noting enough how much potential Fields has. Obviously, yes, there's issues, why he's been on so many different teams. But Fields has extreme upside because he's so mobile. And we've never – I can't remember, Rodgers obviously wasn't mobile. So now we have a quarterback who can escape and make things happen. And, the Jets need to do a good job scheming their offense around him. We have core pieces on this team on offense and defense. Obviously, on offense, we have an RB1 wide receiver, although outside that is Barron, and we can get tight ends. So, this team has guys, and I think that Glenn is a good coach. He's a motivator, and he will pull these guys together. We can make a serious push. My guess, or not my guess, because it seems a little far-fetched right now, but I'm thinking we can go 9-8 and make some noise if Glenn is a good coach, which I truly believe he is, and we have a good team.
Look, Chris, I've said this before. If this team has competent coaching, penalties are reduced, defense plays competent football, you get Justin Fields in here, he gives you 12 starts, Tyrod gets you 5. It's not the craziest thing to say, Jack, that this team could potentially go 9-8.
I agree. Although I don't really see it this season, I see it, I know they said this at the combine. I don't see the season as a win now season though. However, I do think I know that Aaron Glenn said that at whether the combine, I think it was, or was it in his one of his press conferences? Combine. Yeah, at the combine. He said it was a win now, basically in a nutshell. I don't see us winning it now, right? I don't see us going 9-8 for at least till next season. I would say 7-10 for us next season, judging by our schedule. I think we're gonna get swept by the Bills here. I see big
7.
No, 7-10. 7-10. Did I say 10-7? Did I say 10-7?
Sorry, I don't know. I think you might have said,
I'm at 7.
Yeah.
I'm at 7. I'm at 7-10. I think we're, especially within our division, I think we're getting swept by the Bills this year. I think we're gonna split with the Dolphins and split with New England. And I just don't really see us getting past 7 wins, to be fair.
GK3 comes in the chat. He says, Chris G, I'm praying you're right on 9-8. Damn right.
I would love that. I would love that. Me too. What sucks? What really sucks though, because this is how it proves that the Jets are a terribly run organization. Because if we pray for 9-8, that speaks volumes on this.
Yeah, but at least you're praying for 9-8 without paying a freaking 40-something-year-old quarterback $63 million. I mean, it's true. I'd rather go 9-8 with Justin Fields than go 9-8 with Aaron Rodgers. Seriously.
Yeah. Now,
that's
Connor. I have a question.
Yeah, but there's a higher chance you go 9-8 with Rodgers than with Fields, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the overall value doesn't make sense. Paying someone paying someone $63 million compared to paying someone the cheapest starting quarterback in all of football who's not on a rookie contract. There's a big difference.
Right.
Plus, 9-8 with Fields gives me a lot more confidence than going 9-8 with Rodgers, because that shows me Fields could potentially have somewhat of a future here. Rodgers, if you brought him back, is a 1-year guy.
I get that, but I want a guy with the higher percent, because making a wild card at this current state of our franchise would give so much value and so much hope for.
Not if you're mortgaging the whole future, though. That doesn't do anything.
One more year of paying Rodgers, and then you can, get your guy trade up next year in next year's draft, which is where it's a stacked class. So
we're splitting it into 2, I think.
Yeah, it's over whether we like it or not. We're on to Fields, and I'm optimistic about that. So I'm ready to move on.
Now, Connor and Chris, I have a question for you guys. If the Jets decide to go a run and gun route, do you think Braylon Allen will elevate his play, especially
Chris, let's hear it.
100%. I think So my frustration watching the games last year was I was sitting on my couch and I knew that Braylon Allen needed to run inside and Brees needed to run outside, but our coaching staff didn't. So, I feel like in that way, Angstrom needs to recognize, what these players are good for, and that Braylon Allen is a run up the middle guy. He can break tackles, and Brees, you get him in space, he can make people, not make people. He's just an elusive back and kill the defense with his speed. So I think we're in good hands, and I'm ready to see what this offense looks like with Justin Fields.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've been saying all along. A lot of people are excited with Justin Fields. Oh my God, the read option's gonna look crazy with Brees Hall. I'm really looking forward, guys. On like 4th and 2, you want to go for it. 3rd and 6. What that read option is gonna look like. I'm really, really looking forward.
And a little slant to Garrett.
I'm digging it.
No, Braylon Allen, you have to worry about his power on 4th and 2, plus Justin Fields potentially taking off on the read option.
Or a triple option with Brees, Justin, and Braylon. That'd be deadly.
No, I think that'd be deadly. They're not going to line either one of them up as a fullback. That's the problem.
I think. Well, here's the thing. Maybe they reach out, get my hometown guy Ben Mason.
One more point here I want to get into before we get in the chat. We spoke about Tyler Johnson. I still want to get into some of the other exterior free agent signings the Jets have made. Chamuka Okafor, former Patriots right tackle, Stone Smart, Josh Myers, and we got into Tyler Johnson. But those three I want to get into. I'm going to start with Okafor, Jack, someone who Patriots signed to a fair 1-year contract last season, hoping it would be the starting tackle. Didn't get the starting job, but had to come in for injury and start week 1. Played 12 snaps, allowed 6 pressures, something crazy like that, before he got benched, and then flat out left the team, and hasn't played football since week 1. I don't feel comfortable trotting into the season with this guy as my number 1 starting right tackle.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I really think, at least it adds depth to the O-line. I don't like, especially because you said he only played 12 snaps last season. Half of those snaps were pressures caused. I don't trust it. It's it's a 50-50 for me, really.
Chris, how do you feel about Stone Smart here? Someone who is more of a receiver type guy, someone following the Tyler Johnson route, following the new Darren Muji rule, if you want to call it, someone who's 25, 26 years old. You just haven't seen enough of him yet, but he's shown some upside, certainly as a pass catcher.
Obviously, it's not a big name guy. It's not going to get people excited as far as it goes. But I think these are all, good signings in the fact that, their depth and you're not paying, way too much for them. And obviously, I keep on saying this over and over. Glenn, has a vision for what he wants his team to look like, and these people are helping that. Stone Smart, we obviously need to add bodies to the tight end room. So we need to just keep going. And, even though we're going to draft a tight end, this guy's a good body in case someone gets hurt.
For sure. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you voicing your insight there. I want to get your thoughts now on Josh Myers. Has the connection to Justin Fields, was his center in college, struggled over the past few seasons with the with the Green Bay Packers. But you get him a relatively cheap deal. You let Wes Schweitzer walk to the Patriots. I think he could be a perfect depth option for this team, Jack.
I agree. Josh Myers, especially like you said, he has connections with Justin Fields, and again, like you said, he struggled the past few seasons with the Green Bay Packers. Definitely with some good coaching. I feel like I know this is. It sounds like I'm playing a. Sounds like I'm rubbing a fork on a plate here. I've been saying this a lot. With good coaching comes great players, right? And especially we've seen it with Mekhi Becton. I know we don't really like that name here in New York. Even though he struggled with the Jets, I feel like once the Eagles put him in a good spot, I feel like that's where he thrived, and he thrived at guard. He really did. I'm not afraid to admit it. And maybe
because
that's
he wasn't open to switch
Myers.
over to guard here. He wasn't open to switch over to guard here, and that's ultimately what did the trick.
Forced him to switch over to guard.
What'd you say?
Right.
Good coaching would have made him switch over to guard. That's the problem.
They tried to. He was too stubborn. He wouldn't switch over to guard.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's eventually why the Jets had to pull the plug.
But
overall, I like the signing.
Yeah, I love the Josh Myers signing. I saw a video of him saying, I got your back to all the Packers play. So this is he's a good locker room guy, which it makes me think that Glenn knows what he's doing. He knows what players he wants here, and that's the kind of guys we're going after.
Our guy BG in the house. Our guy Boy Green tunes in here.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Well, guys, we'll be joining Boy Green and Snowball and Johnny Boy on Jets Worldwide on Friday. So, BG, Chris, Jack, and I will see you there. So, looking forward to that. Says, next gen, I just need to know How much longer do I have my job before you guys steal it? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. BG, you're the best. You'll always have your job. Appreciate it. You're the freaking 7 a.m. every single day talking Jets. Some wild shows the past few days. Very, very entertaining content. I will say that, BG, the past 2 days. So you're the
Bobby,
best. Appreciate the great work, and I'm looking forward to the draft party with you. What were you gonna say there, Chris?
Bobby thinking he owns multiple callers on at once.
Keep the questions coming, guys. We'll get to those. Call into the show. Pin comment at the top of the chat. Super chats, gifted memberships, a way to get into our membership raffle. Paid way to help us grow, and it helps us significantly. Jimmy says, trade back tribe in the house. I mean, Chris, I think everyone's talking about trading back in this year's draft. The thing is, you need to find someone who's going to want to trade up, and I just don't see a team that would be willing to trade up. And for example, I don't think there's anyone really worthy of trading up, but even a Mason Graham would be someone who could catch a team's eye. Ted McMillan, and if they're on the board, I kind of want to take them rather just pass up and trade down a couple spots and recoup some assets.
No, I really think we should stay put. There's not, the guys that are, top. I'm not saying it's like a top heavy class, but I'm saying that like there's talent we're picking. So I don't want to go out and chance it. I think we should just stay put and take a guy like Warren or Ted.
Great comment here from BG. Hey, Connor, don't bring anyone else on the show or else from Bobby. I don't have the soundbite, but I would play that for you right now, BG. You're always the best. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, our guy T Rivera wants a few more raffle tickets. Comes in with a $10 super chat. Everyone, please super chat. Give memberships if you can. Great way to help us grow. Says, guys, I really think Muji's going to do a great job with his pick so far. I hate the word tanking because that implies our players quit. We're getting younger, a whole new identity. Muji's going to save cap for 2026. T Rivera, the best. Appreciate $10 super chat as always. I mean, Jack, what are your thoughts here on this comment?
I really like the optimism from T Rivera here. I agree. I think Muji can save up for 2026. I feel like that could be the smart move in the long run, especially if we end up with a better draft pick that year. Say we do trade back, maybe it's not even for this year, maybe it is for next year. So I feel like it could really go both ways here.
For sure, T. Rivera, appreciate the super chat. As always, guys, super chats, memberships, great way to support the show. Let's go back to your questions and comments. Call into the show, pin comment at the top of the chat, smash the like, hit subscribe. Jimmy comes in, says, if the Jets trade up to 1 for Cam, I'm turning in my Jets card for Wild.
I agree with this comment. I think trading up for Cam would be a massive mistake. Not only the stuff you have to give up to get him, but just him as a player. I don't like him as a player. I think that's
I don't even see it.
Yeah, that's why I was so high on Fields. I was saying get Fields to make sure that we don't trade up and reach on one of these quarterbacks.
Well, we still heard from Rich Cimini, Chris, that there's a chance the Jets could even draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't think they will, but still a possibility on the table. Look, I think Cam Ward's a really, really solid football player. However, I don't feel comfortable handing him the keys to my franchise. That's the one thing. The assets you'd have to give up for him, and you draft a quarterback, guys. This new regime is tied to them. Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn live and die by whoever the quarterback is on this team.
Well, that's only if they draft in the first round, which is why I'm not open to that. If they want to trade
the first 3 rounds, I think.
No, I don't think if they draft a guy in the third or second round, I don't think they're tied to him.
Second round.
I'd say only first round. If they want, if we suck this year and Justin Fields doesn't work out, then next year we're going to be trading up for our guy. I don't think we'll play the guy we draft in the second round this year as opposed to trading up to get a guy.
Even if it's Jackson Dart, I disagree with that. Even if it's Jackson Dart, like if you draft Jackson Dart at pick 42, you trade to the back end of the first round. They're gonna have to try to make something out of him in 3 years.
I hope if they look at him in camp and say, "Oh, this guy sucks." I hope they have the guts to say, "Okay, we missed." That's what I really hope. I hope they don't take any quarterback anyway. But if they do, it better be way late so they don't get tied.
You can't do that though, Chris, because when you draft a quarterback in an early round, you have to make a 3-year plan out of them. That's the problem.
Yes, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are worthy anyway. So just don't pick them. I hope.
Jets Worldwide, our guy Snowball will be on the show. We'll be on Jets Worldwide, like we said, all 3 of us with Boy Green, Snowball, Johnny Boy. Go over, get a Snowball, Johnny Boy sub. They do great work. Says, I'm still drafting Will Howard. Jack, I'm high on Will Howard. 6'4", 225 pounds. Ton of experience. Really, really solid. He runs a pro-level scheme, knows how to read defenses. I'm on board taking a flyer on a guy like Will Howard.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Especially because even though he's not first, maybe not even second round worthy, I would say maybe late second round, I would say. I like the thought of Will Howard. Played really competitive football in Ohio State. I wouldn't be mad with it at all, especially because I don't want to take a quarterback in the first round. And even if we trade down, I still wouldn't take a quarterback in the first. At 7, if we still picked, I would have probably picked Tyler Warren or Ted McMillan to help out with Justin Fields, and then maybe I'll take a quarterback in the later round. So I don't mind it at all, really. And I think Will Howard's very competitive.
Chris, who are the guys you're looking at as developmental day 3 guys to try to take a flyer on in this year's class?
Well, my first choice would be to just not take a quarterback this year. I want to make that known. I don't really like any of them. But if I had to choose, Jalen Milroe, because you can coach Jalen Milroe and Justin Fields basically the same because they're both running quarterbacks. No, I know there is concerns with Jalen Milroe and addressing Will Howard. I don't want to overreact to how Will Howard threw in shorts and a t-shirt, but it was concerning missing all those throws. McCord looks all right. McCord, I wouldn't be like mad if they took him, but if they want to take a quarterback, I just take Miller or just don't take one at all because you have Fields. And I don't like Jordan Travis. I'm not saying I'm not at all optimistic at Jordan Travis. I don't like him, but if they want to develop a quarterback, you have Fields and Travis, and Taylor to mentor them.
Well, Chris, you're really obsessed with the pure athletic quarterbacks with Fields, Richardson, Milroe.
Well, man, I just don't think anybody else.
Richardson.
I don't get Richardson, Chris. I get Milroe and I get Fields. I don't get Richardson.
Bro, Richardson has such a strong arm, bro. He's mobile. No, and
can't complete any passes. Quits on his team. A pure athlete.
He has to learn eventually. He has to learn from all those mistakes eventually.
And you want the Jets to be the team to try that after they just paid Justin Fields 2 years, $40 million?
I don't want them to do that anymore. I'm just saying I like Fields. I like Richardson as a player, and I hope he succeeds.
Keep the questions coming. We'll get to those. Call into the show with the pinned comment at the top of the chat. Keep the super chats and the gifted memberships coming. Appreciate you guys. As always, Jet up, Caden in the house. I hope Fields leads us to 11-6, and we make the 3rd seed and lose the AFC Championship game to the Bills, and then Fields gets extended 5 years, $250 million. I'm not even looking that far ahead, Jack, when it comes to giving Fields an extension. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but this goes back to the point. It's a low-risk, high-reward type move. Like, this is the best option. You get Fields, and he's your guy here for the future.
I agree, right? I don't see it. I don't see really going 11-6. Like I said, I see 7 wins at best. But if we were to go to 11-6, Jet up, why would you? No. I said if we were to go 11-6, right?
You said 7 and 10.
I would say 7 and 10, 8 and 9 is our best this season. Yes, I would say that. But if Jet up, since Jet up says he hopes to lead us to 11-6 and we make it to the 3rd seed, why would you hope to lose in the AFC Championship? That's just what I'm guessing. Why would you hope to lose?
What's holding this team back from having a winning record that you think their ceiling is 7 and 10?
Well, no, I don't know. I'm just saying, based off what I saw on their schedule, based off their roster right now, they're very young. I feel like, more coaching has to be implemented on them, and we don't even know if these guys are good coaches yet. We got to see that. We got to see this season what they are. Like we said, 2021 with Robert Saleh, everybody thought he was going to be a good coach, right? He was like really top on the list for everybody's hirings. When we got him, everybody was hyped, right? We got a new quarterback, we got a new running back room, and a veteran running back Tevin Coleman. We got Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, everybody.
Frank Gore, remember that stiff? Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm just saying, we ended up going 4-13 that season, but then we ended up bouncing back, starting off the season 7-4. Of course, it didn't finish the way we wanted to, but hey, it may not always start off good in year 1. Year 2, though, it could be a different story. So, but this year, however, I think we're gonna go somewhere around 7 and 10, 6 and 11.
See, if we are really bad, like I wouldn't be mad at 7 and 10, but if we're really bad, I'd be concerned because there's too much talent on this team. It would just tell me like Glenn's not a good coach if we really suck. If we win God forbid 3 or 4 games, my concern. I'd start.
That's concerning.
Yeah, I'd start having concerns about Glenn as a coach and all these coaches that he hired because there's too much talent on this team. We have so many core pieces. I don't want to see this team, being bad. If Justin Fields is just a game manager at least, and I think he can be more than that. But if he's a game manager at least, we should be in the 8 and 7 wins realm. If he's not bringing us down.
Yeah, you guys mentioned that the 2023-2022 run. You guys remember the Jaguars game where Chris Streveler had to come in? Oh my!
Literally, it came to the point. It came to the point where the crowd literally cheered for one completed pass.
Dude, I was there.
Yeah.
It was. They were chanting Streveler.
Dude, it was 3 nights before Christmas. We were all freezing our asses off. I didn't even think it was gonna be cold, so I just were like.
Oh, you were at the game. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, you know my
I'm
obsession
sorry,
with
Chris.
games, but
I'm
I was
sorry.
in a t-shirt. I didn't even think it was gonna be that cold, and I was freezing my ass off, and I was watching Zach Wilson, bro. Everyone on the way out was chanting Zach Wilson sucks, and I was like chanting Striveler too, bro. It was such a crazy
Yeah.
game.
I remember
Bro.
his mom posted on Twitter that night. She was like, "I hate all these Jets fans who are booing my son," and it was like, I think Matt O'Leary actually reacted to it in a video, and
Yeah.
I found it was so funny.
Unbelievable.
I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty
You
funny.
guys remember the biggest what if, I think, one of the, you could always say the, what ifs for the Jets in the past, but besides from Rodgers and stuff, what if Braxton Berrios didn't drop that touchdown pass in the end zone against the Vikings? Like the
I
Jets,
still think we would have
yeah,
lost.
no.
Not lost. No, not lost. No, that's not what I meant. I meant like I still think maybe
They
we
could
would
have
have
run
went
on a
8,
run
9.
though, because that team was running in waves of momentum. Like after
course,
that happened, they
of course.
lose that Vikings game.
Another what if?
They implode.
What if Mike White never hurt his ribs?
I don't think that would have really changed anything.
Yeah, I think
mean,
Mike
maybe.
White is. I don't think Mike White is anything more than like a stopgap 1-year option, like a
I,
backup at this point.
I disagree with that, man. Mike White, we saw with the Jets, man. He was moving, and
He needed the situation around him to be perfect, though. Like you look at the games he thrived. The offensive line barely allowed any pressures. He had wide receivers scheming their way open. He had a really, really solid defense. Like all the games he won, the situation around him was picture perfect.
Now, it's for that 2022 season, right? And there were so many what ifs in that second half. For example, Vikings. What if Berrios didn't drop the ball? That's 8-4. Who do we play the next week? I think that was
Lions game.
Bills
say?
the next week, right?
Oh, the Lions game was a mess too, where Khalif
Yeah.
Raymond like that. They had so many weird games that season. Yeah.
4th and 18.
We could have went like 11-6 that season. 11-6, like 12
remember
the best.
remember that game? Was it? I think it was 22. It wasn't 23, where Wilson blame the defense.
Oh, 22. He was like, yeah. They asked him. He was like, based off the poor offensive play today, do you take accountability for your, something around that? And he just said blatantly no. I think that's the main reason he got sacked. He got sacked.
That was the reason where you got to move on.
Nail in the coffin. That was the nail in the coffin. I think it was leading up to that eventually, but I think that was just the nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson not working out is a mixture of him just being a bad player and having a horrible head. He doesn't even know where he's at mentally, and also the Jets not putting enough in front of him. It's a little mixture of both there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I get that 1000%. And one more thing here on the 2022 season before we go back to your questions. Keep those coming. If you want to call in with the pinned comment, you could do so at the top of the chat. Smash the like, subscribe. The one thing, that Patriots game, it was such a close game. The defense kept them in it. And that guy, Jonathan Jones or whatever, freaking housing that punt return. I was watching that game and I was shaking.
I think it was Marcus Jones.
No, I think it was Jonathan.
It was Marcus Jones, I remember. Kevin Harlan was. Oh my God, Kevin Harlan was crazy. So bad.
I was pacing around my entire house, bro. I was so nervous, and I see him return the kick, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, bro!"
Yeah,
it was literally the day we lost my playoff game for football. It was literally it couldn't have ended any worse because it was the same day we lost my playoff game for my football team, and I had to go home and watch Marcus Jones score a punt return on the Jets.
How about the Chiefs game in 2023 where they threw the flag after Gardner picked it? I was there. I was
listening to the game. Do you go to every primetime game, Chris?
Dude,
yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's only primetime games he's ever been to.
Not on the Jumbotron anymore. Josh comes in the chat, says going into the draft, Darren Muji going to have to find starters 1st through 4th round.
I agree.
This is interesting. I mean,
listen,
it's going to be tough, but he needs to do this roster has so many holes. You need to find guys who are going to contribute right away, rounds 1 through 4.
Use the first for a starter. I think that's what it's come down to. Use the first and maybe the second for a starter, at least.
I think we're going to find out a lot about the way this regime, we're going to find a lot about them based on how they draft this season. And listen, this draft has a chance to be successful. There's deep classes at positions of need for us, tight end, wide receiver. But I'm interested to see how they approach this draft and, what comes out of it in the future.
I really think we need to give this. Oh, sorry, Connor. You
go. Go ahead.
I really feel like we should give this. Of course, you judge coaches based off. A lot of people judge coaches based off their first season. I feel like we need to give them some time, right? Maybe they're not always set up with the best outcomes, right? And of course, I know it's their job to do that, but I feel like maybe we should just give them a little more time besides judging them based off the first year.
Yeah, but again, Aaron Glenn and Darren Mushi don't have all the time in the world. You have to keep in consideration.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe
if they win 4 games, if they win 4 games this season and win 5 games in year 2, they're on the hot seat entering year 3.
Now that's a different story.
I'll be if they win 4 and then 5 next year. I'd be I'd almost be done. I'd have said I've had enough. honestly.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I know a lot of fans don't want to rebuild, but you realize for those who wanted Rodgers and are throwing a fit because the Jets now have to quote rebuild or retool, whatever the term is that people throw around, you realize that keeping Rodgers would just delay the inevitable. Like I hope the people who wanted Rodgers back know that and they
But wait,
understand that.
so
Right.
how do you delay the inevitable? Because let's say best case scenario here. Best case scenario, right? We bring Rodgers back. We retain Devontae. Next year we go 10-7 and we make the playoffs. And then
He's leaving the team anyways. He's
and
retiring.
then we trade up for our quarterback, and we already made the playoffs with our young core. And we have faith in Glenn. We our young core has playoff experience, and we're only trending up. And we trade up for our franchise quarterback in next year's draft.
Here's the thing, though. That's not winning with your young core if you win with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. That's not winning with your...
It's getting Quinnen, Sauce, Garrett, Brees, Jermaine. It's getting all of them playoff reps. And, we have faith in Glenn and Muji now. I would have been signed up for that. That's why I wanted Rodgers
The
back.
thing is, you're saying you would have signed up for that. There's no guarantee you just won 5 games with him. Like, the people who wanted Rodgers back, you guys have been acting like it's a guarantee that he's just going to come in and win you 8 games, 9 games, 10 games. He just won you 5 games. That's the part I don't get. And I understand you're going to say coaching. I understand you're going to say coaching. I know you're going to say kicking. Here's the thing. This is the best point I could possibly make about Rodgers and him coming back or whatever. The Jets didn't trade for Aaron Rodgers to play defense. The Jets didn't trade for Aaron Rodgers to kick field goals. They traded for him so when the game is on the line with 2 minutes left, when you need someone, that was the whole phrase, 2 minutes left, you needed someone to drive down the field, score a touchdown for you, get your points. This is why we have Aaron Rodgers. This is why we have Aaron Rodgers.
Wasn't he like 2-5 in
1 and 6,
game-winning drives?
1 and 6,
1
1
and
and
6,
5,
yeah.
something like that. That goes back to my point. When you needed him to win the game, he could not get it done for you.
Like the Seahawks game.
In the Minnesota game, that hamstring injury that he sustained was the worst possible. So he was playing injured the entire year. So bringing him back, you would have had optimism that that's over, and he's another year removed off the Achilles. So that's why
he's also a year older. Like you could play that game, but he's also a year older too, and he's immobile no matter what. He's immobile no matter what.
I know he's not mobile, but at least
you can't win with an immobile quarterback. Boom.
Yes, you
can. Can't move. You can. Okay.
Damien
he got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs.
That was a defensive.
You can't go far into the playoffs. Like we can go down the list right now. Look at the quarterbacks who made the playoffs last year. Baker Mayfield, immobile quarterback, gone. Sam Darnold, immobile quarterback, gone.
Baker Mayfield's not that immobile. He can move.
He can move, but he's not a mobile. You need a mobile quarterback to win.
You're saying you need a scrambling quarterback?
Yes.
Especially in today's game. All the nutrition is up.
Look at the 4 final teams in this year's in the NFL.
You had Mahomes,
Bills, Josh Allen. Chiefs, Mahomes, Eagles, Hurts,
Jaden Daniels, Daniels.
Perfect. Like there it is.
Although I can see where Chris is coming from. Especially I can see where Chris is coming from. Obviously, there can be upsides to both sides. I just feel like in today's NFL, you really need a mobile quarterback because everybody's getting smarter about nutrition, hydration, workouts. I really feel like in this day and age, you really need a mobile quarterback.
I don't want to hear people who are rushing Rodgers out pessimistic then because we have a mobile quarterback now. So now we have a quarterback who can't go through progressions, but he can run. So when we're complaining, booing at MetLife, I want everyone to know that we could have had Rodgers.
You were literally one of the biggest Justin Fields fan. You bought a Justin Fields jersey.
I know, but I'm saying if you're trading immobile for a guy who is slower than going through progressions. So I think Justin Fields was the best option, and I'm rooting like hell for him to do well. I think we would have been better off with Rodgers, but I like Justin Fields a lot.
I would take Justin Fields 2 years, $40 million over Aaron Rodgers 1 year, $63 million.
My logic is I want to making the playoffs next year is huge. So I want a guy who's a higher percent chance to do that. That's why I want Rodgers. But Justin Fields, I'm so optimistic about his contract going forward. I think he can be the face.
You just said he can't go through progressions though, and he can't make plays, and fans are going to be booing him at MetLife, and they need to realize that they could have had Rodgers.
That was a sure thing. I said if.
You said when he's unable to go through progressions, fans are going to start booing him at MetLife, and they're going to forget they could have had.
I'm using that as a part of the Rodgers argument. I think
Yeah, but you can't play both narratives. Like you have to pick one side.
I get it. A whole offseason, with training camp developing, he's with Tyrod, a veteran. He can work some of that out, and the Jets can play to his strengths, and it can be better. So the Rodgers. It's over with Rodgers. It's over. I would have liked to keep him, but I think we have the best option, besides Rodgers now with Fields, and Fields can be the face of this franchise if he fixes some of his issues. So I'm excited.
Jack, if you take everything into account, what would you rather have? Aaron Rodgers, the 1 year, $63 million, or Justin Fields, 2 years, $40 million?
You got to look into longevity, right? Obviously, Rodgers
I
had
do.
some upside, right? I
No,
wouldn't have been
he didn't have
mad.
any upside.
I think he just had a tiny bit. I'm not saying a lot, but listen, hold on.
No, he didn't
A
have
lot.
any upside.
He had hold on. I just
No,
believe
he
he maybe had a little bit left in the tank, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying bringing him back.
Left in the tank,
Like,
though.
listen.
No, that's not upside, yeah.
I think that it was the smart move. Originally, I was not for it. Now I could see why. I could really see why Tanner Engstrand and Aaron Glenn want to reset this team. You have to go for longevity. That's just my opinion.
The one reason,
opinion has switched.
reason that they got rid of Rodgers is that they don't want him to be the face of the franchise, which is
That
fine.
has nothing to do with
The problem with that, with you not liking Rodgers, is you think
He was a poison too, anyway.
You think he sucks? He did not suck. We went 5 and 12.
He was not a good quarterback. He was not a good quarterback. 1-6 with the game on the line. That's all I have to say. 1-6 with the game on the line. Couldn't move. Was one of the most inaccurate quarterbacks last year. Finished bottom 10 in every metric. Played 4 good games last season, each of which again bottom 5 defenses. Don't tell me he was a good.
Take the Seahawks.
Good coaching would have benched him when he was hurt. He was so hurt. Good coaching would have sent Rodgers here. Sit until you get healthy, and we would have started Tyrod Taylor. He wouldn't.
They didn't. You could say if, but that didn't happen. That's the problem.
That's the problem. It's coaching that was the glaring issue. It wasn't Rodgers. This is coaching, and this is Rodgers.
I think it had to do with both. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, you can't just take away what the quarterback did. He's the quarterback of the football team. He's not free of blame. I don't get that.
I don't think he's free of blame, but also you have to know that he's playing hurt. Like you don't seem to he's playing with the worst possible hamstring injury for the entire second half of the year.
First half, you mean? He played 4 good games last season. That's all I have to say. All right. Bottom 5 defenses.
It's over. It's over. There's no point. We have Fields now. I'm excited. Let's just move forward.
June comes in the chat with a $5 super chat. Appreciate it. As always, says, great show, young brothers. I'm off to do my first ever live stream. June, appreciate the $5. Good luck.
Good luck, June.
I'm gonna let's see if we'll try to pull it up on the other tab. June, the GM. Let's see if he's live. Let's go over. Give June a sub. June's the best.
I love June. Because he makes some rational points, and that's why he's called June the GM.
Yeah, June is a fireball, man. I love June.
Appreciate all of his support on here on the show as always. Italian Eddie comes in. This is hi everyone. Any news on OL, especially with Morgan Moses gone? No, there's not any new news other than signing Chamuka Okafor. That is the only news we've really seen regarding the Jets offensive line thus far. Are there any names you guys still see in free agency you want to go after, coupled with drafting someone?
I mean, maybe it's kind of dwindled down, kind of. I mean, there's no really names that stick out to me now.
What about Jedrick Wills, Jack? Give me your thoughts here on Jedrick Wills.
I mean, he's okay, right? Like I said, free agency is kind of dwindled down with talent. I wouldn't be mad with it. It would add depth to his position. I wouldn't mind it, but it's not ideal, in my opinion.
You don't want to gamble on his first round upside?
I would. Like I said,
you just want to test the market.
I could take a chance on him. I could. Well, the thing. What are you asking here? Like, would I like to keep him for long term?
Would you want to gamble on Jedrick Wills' upside as a former first round pick?
Yes, I would. I mean, I have mixed feelings on it though. Like,
how much would you pay him?
It's a total gamble. I don't know. Not that high, to be honest.
Like maybe a realistic contract
million.
though. How many years?
Maybe 1 year, 15. Maybe
1 year, $15 million for Jedrick Wills.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't think he's
supposed to get like $2.5 million in free agency.
Maybe 10. I don't know. I don't really know much about him.
10.
That's the thing.
Just add bodies, honestly. You really find offensive line starters through the draft. That's why I'm so happy with the Olu pick. I'd rather be picking Olu last year and Warren this year than Bowers last year than some not as good of tackle as Olu this year. So I'm happy where we are. Remember at 7, we have too many other needs. We need weapons.
Exactly.
At 7. We have too many.
Tackle class is so deep too. Like you can address that in one of the.
When did Membu come out of nowhere? He had a good combine. Like my guy Richardson had a good combine. Look where he is in the NFL now.
And you want to trade for him still, which
I don't want to trade for him still, bro. Putting words in my mouth.
You said it last week. Let's review the tape. And
Last
go
week
back
we
and-
Yeah,
didn't
wait.
have Fields. We didn't even have Fields signed last week. What are you reviewing?
Rover comes in, says, who would you rather have with the 3rd-round pick? Will Howard or trade for Will Levis?
Will
Howard
Howard all day. Will Howard.
Levis
I'm
is
gonna push back.
broken.
I'm gonna say trade for Will Levis. If you're giving a third, I don't, bro.
You would give a 3rd-round pick for someone who was a 2nd-round pick a year ago and hasn't shown he's a rosterable player at the NFL level, than gambling on someone who's a winner at the college level, has had a ton of success, runs a pro-level scheme.
Will Levis has a great arm. If we can coach him out of the stupid mistakes, I think that's not bad. But I don't want any quarterbacks. We have Fields. We have Tyron Fields. Like, we have our guys. I'm not interested in any draft or trading for any of these bums. That's why we signed Fields. We don't have to talk about this anymore.
Our guy Keith McPherson, WFAN host in the house, says,
Yes.
Let's go, Connor. You guys think Justin Fields will have more total touchdowns, rushing/passing than Aaron Rodgers had last year? He have more wins. Keith, appreciate you tuning in. As always, you're the best. I was listening to your Sunday Sauce show earlier today on your YouTube channel, so shoot Keith a sub. Keith's the best. Listen to him on the fan, the KM to AM. Keith, appreciate you tuning in. Here's the thing. I think Justin Fields is going to have a lot of rushing touchdowns. He's not going to throw as much. If he starts 17 games, I think you're looking at 17, 18 passing touchdowns, coupled with maybe 10 rushing touchdowns, 11. So great question here. I'd say when push comes to shove, total rushing and passing, you're looking at probably 17 passing in my eyes, plus another 10 to 12. I think they'll probably be neck and neck there, Chris.
So Connor, I have a question. How many touchdowns would he have to, throw, touchdown interception ratio would he have to have this year for you to be like, oh yeah, this is our guy going forward?
Nothing. He has to take me to the playoffs.
Take you into the playoffs. So if this team goes 7-10, and Fields has good stats, you're drafting a quarterback in 26.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm drafting a quarterback, even if he gets you to. I don't care if you win the Super Bowl. You're drafting another quarterback.
That's crazy. That's
no,
crazy.
it's not at all. No, it's not at all. Not at all.
If you win the Super Bowl with Justin Fields this next year, you're drafting a quarterback in 26.
Correct.
Why?
You have to draft a quarterback till you find some sort of longevity at the position. Just because Fields has one good year, maybe get you far into the playoffs, there's not a guarantee he's going to be able to build sustained success with this team. I really like Fields, but you need to keep chopping at the quarterback position until you get it right for a sustained amount of time.
If he won the Super Bowl, that means you got it right. You accomplished something that people dream to do their entire life.
Maybe not winning the Super Bowl, but you go deep into the play. I'm drafting a quarterback pretty much no matter what.
I'd say if Fields makes the playoffs, you commit to him long term this year.
No way.
That's my thing. And if you go here, my line. So if he throws 30 touchdowns and less than 10 picks, you commit to him no matter what.
30 total or throws 30? Because Rodgers just threw 28.
Throws 30. I said if he throws over 30 and throws less than 10 picks, you commit to him long term no matter what the record is.
Yeah, but that's not happening. Aaron Rodgers, who threw the ball basically every single play because he was afraid to run the ball, threw 28 touchdowns. There's no way Fields is going to throw 30. I think he can combine for 30. I just don't think he's throwing 30.
I mean, we'll see what Fields does. The Jets need to play to his strengths. I like Fields a lot. I think if they make the playoffs and Fields has good stats, you keep him going forward. I think that's a no-brainer.
You can keep him, but still draft a guy. That's the thing, Chris. You can draft a guy and he doesn't have to come in and start right away.
You mean draft a guy in the later rounds, or I'm thinking trade up?
You can draft someone in the first round and they don't have to come in and play right away.
Yeah, I know, but why are you draft someone in the first round if Fields is taking you to the playoffs already?
Look at what the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts. Look at what they did with Jalen Hurts. They just won a Super Bowl a couple years before. Nick Foles was their quarterback. Carson Wentz was in a groove with them before they drafted Jalen Hurts. And then look, Carson Wentz passes the baton to Jalen Hurts. They just won a Super Bowl.
Jalen Hurts was
early second round. I know he's early second round. What I'm saying is, just because you make the playoffs with Fields doesn't mean that precludes you from drafting a quarterback. We've seen teams do it in years prior.
So if Fields makes the playoffs, I want them to build around Fields. So use your first round pick on a guy that's a team need, and then if you want to take quarterback in later rounds, fine. I don't get it, but fine.
So this is what I have to ask you: did you think it was smart for the Vikings to try to build around Sam Darnold?
Do I think was smart for the Vikings to try to build around Sam Darnold? Well, if they didn't have McCarthy on the roster, I would say yes.
Okay. That could be Nico on the Jets roster behind Fields.
I love Nico Amavella. I'm in on Nico, bro.
So you just switch your entire argument after I just made that comparison.
If Fields sucks, well, you don't understand. Like, Nico is like my favorite.
No. I'm using the Sam Darnold comment because he won 14 games.
So who are they? So wait. So wait, why are you using the Sam Darnold comp? They already have a first-round quarterback on their roster anyway. They signed Darnold not knowing he'd be good, and J.J. McCarthy wasn't supposed to get hurt. They were supposed to go into the season with McCarthy. They're not drafting.
That's not true. Well, they were not, because you forget
They were going to go in with Darnold.
they were going to go.
Were they?
Darnold won the competition before McCarthy got hurt. I think people often forget that. He won the quarterback competition.
They announced for sure that Darnold was a starter.
Yes, he was going to be the starter before McCarthy got hurt, no matter what. The thing is here, you could keep Fields, see what he has a couple seasons. While you get a first-round guy in there, you have a fifth-year option. You have some sort of safety net because you have that longevity at the position. I think that's worth it.
So you just expect Fields to fall off a cliff out of nowhere after he makes the playoffs and has decent stats year one?
Who knows? There's no guarantees.
Nobody knows. It's unpredictable.
Yeah. We should stop talking about Justin Fields.
I hope not.
There's no guarantee.
I hope not.
There's no guarantee.
Let's just pray he's good.
Yo Holmes in the chat. Hi lads, good show. Who does everyone like at 7? Tanaroya McMillan, Jack.
Yep. Tyler Warren or Ted McMillan. I think we need weapons and maybe help with the run scheme. I like both.
It's been Ted McMillan since day one. I wouldn't be mad at Warren though.
Let's see. A few more questions here before we're going to wrap. Last question. Last chance to call into the show. Pin comment at the top of the chat. Keep the questions, comments, super chats, memberships, getting you into our membership raffle. Keep those coming. We're going to wrap up here in a few, so last chance to get in on the conversation.
For Warren.
Robert C comes in. How much have the Dolphins and Patriots improved? That will have something to do. That will have something to say about the Jets' record. Dolphins have not improved. Patriots have significantly
They have not
improved.
You
think the Patriots haven't improved? Jack, you just said the Patriots haven't improved?
No, I'm talking about the Dolphins.
Oh, okay.
TD Finstock in shambles after.
Patriots totally improved.
They improved by getting Zach Wilson.
If they didn't improve, I would say we would have swept them this upcoming year. But no, I said we were going to split with them because I think there's actually going to be some competition.
I hope we'll sweep the Patriots. We should sweep the Patriots. I don't know.
I hate making schedule predictions because I thought everyone thought the Jets were going to win 11-10 games, and it just goes to show.
Guys, this goes back to something we all thought we were a quarterback away when in reality we were a coaching away.
We were more than that.
And a quarterback.
Oh my God, bro! Has to throw in a jab at Rodgers with everything he says.
It's not throwing a jab at Rodgers. Rodgers was not good last season. I don't understand why you can't come to that truth. He was not good.
28 touchdowns, 11.
Now, do you think Rodgers would have been good if Rodgers never tore it?
48 times, second most passes.
He couldn't run because our coaching was bad.
One of the least accurate quarterbacks in all of football. Couldn't hit a receiver to save his life. Overthrowing everyone. Force feeding the ball to Devontae Adams. 42 years old. Beat 3 bottom 5 defenses. Bring him back, baby. $63 million.
He was injured. Our coaching sucked. We couldn't kick. He was.
Hold on. Order. We need order in here. Here's the question. I want to ask this for both of you. Okay. Do you think it would have been any different? And this is this is just a hypothetical question. Do you think the 2023 season, do they 2023 Rodgers, if he never tore his Achilles, would have been better than 2024 Rodgers?
We would have found out that Saleh sucked as a coach. We would have fired him. We would have had Mike Vrabel this year, and we would have won the Super Bowl. That's
the thing is that didn't happen. Like, we could do the what ifs. That didn't
won the
happen.
Super Bowl.
Won the Super Bowl. Yeah,
I know.
Yep, I don't care what you guys say. If we would have had Vrabel in here, if Rodgers never got hurt, we would have fired Saleh last year, and we would have had Vrabel, and we would have won the Super Bowl this year.
So you're saying Rodgers?
I love Vrabel, but he couldn't get past. He couldn't get past the divisional round.
That's saying
with the most talented roster in the league.
The Titans were not the most talented roster in the league.
One of them.
The Titans beat off the. Whoa! The Titans sent Tom Brady and the Patriots packing.
Exactly. I'm talking about the 2021 Titans. That team was almost electric.
Okay, I'm not even going to touch that. But Chris, you're saying they would have won the Super Bowl, so that's indicating the 2023 season would have been shit if they fired Rodgers.
Fired Saleh.
Fired Saleh. That's
it didn't have to be shit. They just missed the playoffs at like 7 and 10, 8 and 9. That's what would have happened. They would have fired Saleh, and then they would have hired.
So then Rodgers would have looked like crap. That man.
No, Rodgers would not have looked like crap. I mean,
the
coaching would have looked like crap. You don't understand coaching.
How do you know that though? How do you know that?
This whole scenario is a hypothetical.
So yeah, how do you know?
Yeah, but it didn't.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, we're saying
we'll end with this one from our Chiefs fan here. King Jamie the Mad says you boys are gonna be happy with Nandi. I like Derek Nandi.
I'm happy with that signing.
Someone who has been very, very durable for the Chiefs these past few seasons. Struggled this past year. Doesn't provide that much value as a pass rusher, but really can clog up the middle. 6'2", 317 pounds. Great run stuffer. Jack, what do you have on this move?
I like it. I think that we should take a chance on him. You have nothing else to lose.
Chris.
it takes me back to all the entire moves this free agency. If you think we're tanking because we're not getting big names, that's a crazy take. The Jets never had that much money going into the season. This was never a stacked class. And when has signing big name free agents worked out for us? Never. This is a solid signing. He's going to start next to Quinnen. And I love the way Muji is approaching this free agency. And I think we have reason to be optimistic going forward.
Smash the like button, everyone. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Can't thank you enough for all your support here on the show. Second ever episode of the Next Gen Jet Show is in the books. On to episode 3 next week. You guys are the best. Can't thank you enough for all your support. Like, share, and subscribe. You guys keep the show going. Chris, you got any final thoughts you want to share before we sign off here on this episode?
Listen, nothing good comes out of being pessimistic. There's no reason to being right doesn't matter. We always want this team to be good. So there's reason to have hope. Everyone should be more optimistic. JETS, Jets.
I think logic is better though.
Oh, God.
Jack, what do you want to get in here? Final thoughts.
Chris, I love the positivity with you, man. You're one of the most positive, if not the most positive Jets fan ever. Talk to my uncle, you'll get the exact opposite. He will not say anything positive. Literally, I think the day we traded for or the day he tore his Achilles, you know what he said to me? Literally, he texted me like 10 minutes before he tore his Achilles. He said, "Watch Rodgers go down with an injury."
Cut his ass off.
Like, he's so negative. No. He's smart though. He's logic. He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer for goodness sake. Right?
It doesn't matter if
he speaks with logic.
This is what I don't understand. It doesn't matter if
Chris,
you're
just saying be delusional and live in La La Land and say Super Bowl every year?
I'm saying look at the bright side. If it doesn't work out, it's whatever. But you can't drive yourself crazy thinking we're gonna suck.
Chris. Think of this as the upside. Don't get any hopes up, and you won't have any more pain. Right? Think of anything. Think the Jets are gonna go 0-17. You won't feel any pain, right?
No.
If you don't have expectations, you'll have lower pain.
Hopefully that's not the case. Appreciate you all tuning in. That'll do it for us here on Next Gen Jets. For Chris and Jack, I'm Connor signing off. JTS Jets. Let's go.